Hello, my name is Dark Moon Doll, and on Mondays, I usually do Monday Morning Rant, but today I decided to take a detour from that. Today, a viewer was talking about how she wanted to learn how to do basic hand sewing techniques, so I wanted to demonstrate just a few of them with you today. So basically what I did was I cut out a scrap of fabric just to do a sampling of how to do that. Then what I do with the scrap of fabric is I fold it in half, like that. And what you want to do is thread your needle. And so I have a spool of thread here. Depending on how big your project is, you're going to want a lot of thread. But if you don't have a big project, I usually double it over. So when I say double it over, I mean I've pulled out this amount, a certain amount, and then I've pulled out another amount that is the same length, if that makes sense, about the same length. So that gives me an approximate measurement of how much thread I'm going to be working with. so, so I cut that with my scissors, my trusty sewing scissors. And here's how you thread a needle if you've never threaded a needle before. So you take one end of the thread, if you can see this really good, and you find the hole of the needle. I like to work with a needle that has a big hole, bigger hole, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. You end up with a needle that has a hole that's too small. Now if you have that, you just pull it through, then you can get what's called a threading, it's like a threading tool, where it can help you to thread the needles that have really small holes, like say for beading. For like when people do glass beading, you need those beading needles. So okay, I've got it thread. I threaded the needle, see that? So here's the end. So on the end, what you want to do is put a knot on the end so that it doesn't come out of the fabric. And this is how I make my knots. Just like that. There. And if your knot's not big enough and it's slipping right out of the fabric, just make it thicker, just tie it thicker, a thicker knot. So what you can do, this is a basic stitch. I looked up the names of the stitches because when I started sewing, I did it on my own. I learned when I was 5, I had sewing needle, thread, and fabric, and I didn't know the names of the different types of stitches. So this one, I looked it up on this one sewing website, hand stitching website, and this one is called a basting stitch. So yeah, basting stitch is like a dash line. So you push the needle, you can see this, push the needle through the fabric like that till you feel it hit the knot on there. Let's turn it around. There. And it's basically going to be a dash is what it's going to be looking like. A dash. So let's see if I can do this here like that. Then you pull it through that way. And you just keep going in the opposite, on the opposite side of the fabric. Like, so you line it up, needle up with, if you want it close together, then you line the needle up with the stitch you've already made. So like this, that's what I'm saying, like that. And then you bring the needle back over like so. So that's how you do that, what's called a basting stitch. The next kind of stitch I'm going to show you is, I want to call it a cross hatch stitch, but the technical term is called overcast stitch. If you guys want to correct me and someone knows all the technical terms, go right ahead, but I'm telling you that this is what I found out about these stitches that I've been doing for years, but didn't know the names of. So this is how overcast stitch looks. It's like this. You put the needle through the fabric, and then you come over onto the other side like that. Let's see. And you just keep going over. You don't switch sides or anything. See, like that. Let's see. I think one of them, I think this is the one they were referring to on that website, saying that the overstitch is good for hems on clothing. So, and then what I like to do when I'm making, my stuff, sometimes I like to do this, cross it like that. See that? So it makes kind of like an X look there, like that. So yeah, those are just basic stitches that you can use when you're hand sewing. So this is a basting stitch. This right here is the basting stitch, and this is the overcast stitch. So those are little basics in sewing. I hope you enjoyed that. Just little basic stuff. Of course, you're not going to want to leave it at just that when you're hand sewing. You want to stitch over it over and over, so whatever it is that you're creating will last. It won't fall apart. Alright, thank you for joining me for this just basic hand sewing little tutorial. I hope that you found this interesting and it helps you with your hand sewing adventures. Alrighty guys, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you everybody for subscribing, liking, and sharing these videos with your friends and family. And yeah, love the kind comments. Keep them coming. Keep the suggestions coming. And yeah, have a peaceful and creative day.